For those of you who are new here, I know that over 80% of you are unsubscribed. This is a channel where I help get your lawn from brown and disgusting to green and beautiful in just under a year. I've worked in the industry for over 3 years, so please feel free to subscribe. I will help you get the best lawn on the block.
When I look into her eyes, I see paradise.
As you can see, folks, doing a bit of gardening work over here. Those of you who follow me on Instagram have seen this work. Took out the anonymous bush that was here. Took out this tree because it died. And now we're trying to figure out. This is all going to be ripped out eventually when we redo this walkway, which needs to be done because it's pilling. But this Rose of Sharon's way overgrown and just kind of looks out of place now. So now it's a decision on whether to take the Rose of Sharon out too, or I don't know, figure out what the heck we're going to do with this. We got some grasses to put in here. We got more roses. We're just kind of going grasses and roses and junipers at the moment because that's what fits in this. But I don't know what else is going to fit in here. This garden's a little bit of a mess right now. We'll get her cleaned up, looking nice in no time. Okay guys, so I've been struggling to get a video done this week. I've had rain, we've had lots of yard work to do as I showed. School's finishing up and everything, so let's go through a video. This is going to be more of a vloggy type video. We're going to talk about summer lawn tips, what's going on with the lawn, how everything looks and all that stuff. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the number one thing is, how is the lawn looking? We just got about maybe an eighth of rain today, quarter inch at most. And the lawn for mid-July, or late July actually, is looking great. As you can see here, the front lawn looks awesome. We got new mower blades for the lawnmower, which, you know, just helped in general. The lawn is just, it's so, like, it's lush. There's not much problems with it. If anything, the problems are caused by me. I'm having trouble keeping up with cutting. There's a bit of clippings in here. There's a bit of, you know, user error with the lawnmower. But other than that, the lawn is looking awesome. This is all manually irrigated, and it still looks great. Coming into the backyard, this is where the in-ground system has kicked in great. Everything here looks awesome. We're not really seeing any sort of thinning or brown areas throughout here. As you can see, if I get down, the lawn is super lush, super thick. We are seeing a little bit of browning down at the roots of the plant, but the soil very moist all the time. The plant is very happy, and as you can see, a little bit of clippings left over, but that's really user error with the mower. Just have to keep up on mowing a little bit more. The new grass blades are doing a great job at the cutting, and you know, this it's just looking great. It hasn't looked this good in years. This is the best it's looked for mid-July. We normally have a lot more brown dry areas kicking in by now. We normally have a lot more opportunistic weeds kicking in by now. Not seeing many weeds. Overall, just looking really great. Not seeing many problems at all here. It's just looking really good, really great. No dry areas pretty much. There's one over there, but not too bad. Looking really good. I think another aspect about how good this is looking was from that spring fertilizer I put down. The fertilizer I put down this year was the 16-16-16, and I had been putting down a lot of nitrogen and potash for the last 3 years, and just kind of slowly hadn't really put down much potassium, but that was partly because we're not really allowed to do it here, or it's kind of lowered. There's not a lot of fertilizer you can find with it, and as soon as I put down that potassium, the root growth changes in the lawn has been crazy. Even this side yard, like, to put it in layman's words, looked like shit this spring, and it looks great right now. It looks 10 out of 10. I love it. And that's all due to that 16-16-16, and that's due to that root growth. When that root growth really kicked in, it just helped establish everything, and watering this year hasn't been too bad because the roots are deep and established and healthy. So this goes into what I always talk about: focus on the lawn, not the weeds. When we put in that fertilizer, when we put in that work to help establish those roots, The lawn now requires less water. It requires less intensive mowing. It requires less weed killer. It requires less intensive care to keep the weeds out. It just requires less work. It's become a lot more self-sufficient. Once you are getting those roots established, the lawn pretty much does anything itself. It fights the drought, it fights the weeds, it fights the disease, it fights everything because it's well established enough that it doesn't need to worry about those things anymore. So without further ado, that's the status of my lawn. Really happy with it, guys. I mean, I'm sure I probably just put my foot in my mouth a couple seconds ago because now we're gonna get a 3-week drought and I'm gonna be really upset with it, but this year has probably been the best looking lawn year we've had in a while. So without further ado, let's talk about some summer lawn tips and how you can keep your lawn looking like that all summer long. Okay, so the first summer lawn tip is water. This is obviously the most important thing. And we're gonna talk about 2 approaches to watering this year too, because I know that's something a lot of people ask me questions about. Number 1, I'm watering to keep my lawn green and healthy. Number 2, I'm watering to keep my lawn alive. So for those of you who are watering all year because you plan to keep your lawn green and healthy like I do, you need to be putting down a ½ inch of water every 2 to 3 days. However, you need to be monitoring your inputs and outputs. The grass uses a certain amount of water every day depending on how hot it is, what your dew point is, how humid it is, all those different things. So what you need to be doing is keeping on top of it. You can't just set a schedule to say I'm going to water a ½ inch every 3 days. You need to keep looking at it, compare it to your weather. Well, maybe there's a storm coming in 4 days, so I'm going to water in between. Maybe my lawn was really dry today, so I'm going to put a little bit of water on it to cool it off. Maybe we're in a heat wave, we're in a drought, I'm going to start watering every 2 days instead of 3 days. All these things are things to keep consideration. You need to look for those drought areas, look for those areas that are starting to turn that bluey gray color and keep on top of them. If your irrigation system is unable to keep on top and you're getting dry spots, get out the hose and manually water those dry spots to keep them from filling in. All these things are great things to be doing with your irrigation. Irrigation by humans is honestly, it's not perfect. Even the best in-ground irrigation systems out there are only 90% effective, which means there's still that 10% error that's causing of grass that's being missed, grass that's not getting fully watered, all these problems. So for those of you who are planning to water, it is not just as simple as putting out a sprinkler, it's monitoring it. It's making sure that you're putting down a ½ inch and you know what a ½ inch of water is. It's making sure that the ½ inch of water is evenly spread throughout the whole stream. And it's making sure that you're staying on top of it and checking those areas that are turning brown or that gray color instantly and not letting things go too far into dormancy. Now, for those of you who say, I cannot water, it is just clearly too expensive. Well, that's fine. Cool season grass can go straw brown and still come back as lush as my lawn in the fall. Now, there's 2 simple things. 1, you need to be making sure that you're getting about a ½ inch of water down on the lawn every 2 weeks. So if it hasn't rained in 2 weeks, make sure that you're putting out your sprinkler and getting a little bit of water on it. This is just enough to keep that plant alive. What the plant does is, in order to conserve energy, it takes the green and the healthy looking part out of the lawn, turns it brown, and conserves all that water and nutrients down at the crown of the plant, which is the part that keeps the plant alive. Once those crowns run out of water, the crowns die and the grass die, and you will see die-off, brown spots come into your lawn in the fall. So in order to keep this from happening, definitely recommend watering every 2 weeks, especially if you're somebody who's really into the lawn. Watering once every 2 weeks is going to be less money than paying for sod or seed repair to fix your lawn coming next year. If you're fixing your lawn every year, the amount of money you're spending on seed and soil is just not, that it doesn't make sense to not be watering. So if you can afford it, and if your city allows it, but you're going to let your lawn go into dormancy, water at least once every 2 weeks to keep the lawn alive throughout the summertime. And then in the fall, with a nice dose of fertilizer, it should bounce back to look like my lawn does by the end of middle to late September. Next, let's talk about mowing. So I see a lot of people mowing their lawn at about 2 p.m. on a 37-degree day here in Southern Ontario, and that is just not a good thing to be doing. If you're trying to conserve water, help keep your lawn from stressing, help keep your lawn as green as possible, the best thing to do is mow in the evenings or in the morning. So mow at about 5, 6 o'clock at night once the day has cooled off, or mow at about 9, 10, 11 in the morning before we hit the really hot of the day. This is going to keep your lawn from being stressed, because it doesn't matter how much you water or how healthy your lawn is, your lawn will be stressed in the middle of a very hot day. So in order to keep that stress from getting worse, you need to keep on top of your mowing and making sure that you're mowing properly, mowing at cooler times, mowing at darker times, mowing at points where the lawn is under less stress will keep the lawn from going brown or having problems quicker, laying down, killing it from drought stress, other things like that. Another thing is, if you have a lot of drought stress and your lawn has gone straw brown, try to limit the traffic on it. Crushing those crowns or putting a lot of high traffic areas on a straw brown lawn can really kill it really fast. So if your lawn is stressed, just try to limit the traffic, or if you have a high traffic area, try to go around that area maybe every 2 or 3 times you walk past it to keep that area alive. That's the easiest thing to do. Limit the high traffic on the lawn. We'll keep it alive and keep it growing throughout the rest of the summer and keep it from being completely crushed by the end of the year. So next, let's talk about fertilizer. The fertilizer in the summer, I like to discourage pushing heavy growth at times of stress, and summer is a big time of stress, so this is why I discourage putting down fertilizer on your lawn during the summertime. However, for those of you who are heavily irrigating and your lawn is growing very well, you can put down a small dose of nitrogen about early June, and then I wouldn't recommend putting anything else down until about mid-August. This dose of nitrogen is just going to give your lawn a nice green color and help keeping it from going limey and stringy and in the middle of the summer. Give it a nice texture, keep it from going dormant too quickly. A lawn that's starved of nutrients, when you're watering as much as you have to sometimes to keep up, can really just start looking brown and unhealthy just because it's starved of nutrients. A lawn that has a lot of nutrients will kick in really nice, green and thick anytime you put water on it. So sometimes you do have to put a small dose of fertilizer down about early, just before Canada Day weekend, which would be kind of around now. However, for those of you who are not doing anything irrigation involving any of that, you need to put down your first dose of fertilizer about mid-August here, when the rain starts to pick up and the heat starts to cool down, which is about August 14th, 15th weekend. You can put down 3 pounds per thousand of nitrogen and just put it down before rainfall. And then even if it does not get used right away, it will sit in the lawn until the lawn is ready to wake up. And as soon as it's ready to wake up, the fertilizer's in the soil, it will eat it up, it will gobble it up, and it will get nice and green going into the fall and get rid of that straw brown look that you have. Finally, let's talk about weed control. Now, a lot of weed controls have been banned in Ontario from runoff. And the problem is people like to put large applications of weed control down in the summertime. I'm going to try to discourage you guys to put applications of weed control down in the summertime. What I would really suggest is if you see weeds in your lawn in June or July, pull them by hand. You can put applications of weed control if you are irrigating. However, if you're not irrigating, you should not be putting down applications of weed control. Number one, thunderstorms tend to come a lot here in June and July, and those thunderstorms are going to wash away your weed control down into the sewers, which are going to affect the ecosystems. Number two, the other problem you're going to have is that when you put weed control, the way it works is the lawn absorbs the water that you've diluted your solution into, and then once it absorbs that water, it takes it in as it thinks it's water, and then it kills the plant from inside. So the plant has to be actively growing to absorb that water. If you do a weed control when your lawn is straw brown and your weeds are straw brown, you're not going to get any sort of active solution or death to these weeds, as they are not actively growing, so they will not be absorbing that weed control fast enough to kill them. I saw this in the spring when I was doing some early apps of weed control, and then we got a really big cool down, and the lawn was not, the weeds were not growing enough to absorb the weed control. However, once the lawn did pick up and growing, the weeds died from the weed control. So this is what we need to keep looking at, is you need to keep looking at your temperatures. Are your weeds actively growing? If you can put down some weed control, but I would suggest putting down, just kind of missing the month of July weed control wise. Put down your weed control early August to kill out weeds before your lawn renovation, and also put down your weed control in June to keep out those new emerging opportunistic weeds in the lawn. However, folks, in the end, focus on the lawn, not the weeds. Getting your lawn strengthened and healthy and thickened will really help prevent those weeds from coming in. As I talked about earlier with root growth, if you have a thick, healthy lawn, weeds cannot find an opportunity to grow and you will not see weeds. That is the best thing to do. So if you're spending all this money trying to get weed killer that's not working, you're better just to move that money over to irrigating. Irrigate your lawn, keep the weeds out in the summertime. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for spring lawn tips. As I've said many times, the spring is a really bad stress season, and it's always a bit of a struggle, no matter who you are. I worked at a golf course, and we struggled like crazy with weeds. It's always a struggle in the summer, and there's nothing you can do in the summer to have the perfect green lawn. Some people are just more lucky than others. The best thing to do is in the spring, focus on your root growth and fertilize, so that when the summer, you can reap all those benefits from the hard work you did in the spring. And I know you guys did that, so I know you guys are as happy as I am with your lawn right now. For those of you who haven't done that because you just got a new house, you just got a new lawn, start looking forward to August and your lawn renovation. Start thinking about what you want to do, what type of lawn you want to have, do you want to seed, do you want to sod, what you want to do. Videos will be coming up soon talking about fall renovations because it's just around the corner, folks. And yes, so that's the most important thing. So for those of you, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys' lawns are not struggling in the summer and that everybody's green and healthy. I know there's droughts all over the world right now, especially in North America, over by Manitoba, Utah, everything like that. So wish you guys luck in those areas. Hope we get rain soon. So the Great Green North, my name's Wayne Murray. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hope this video helped you. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I will be ready to answer them as quick as possible. From the Great Green North, my name is Wayne Murray. Thank you guys for watching. As always, keep it green.